Mario, you
We're
ready?
on.
Ready.
Meeting will come to order, please. Johanna, would you read the statement of compliance?
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the Atlantic City Press, Star Ledger, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, the municipal website, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk. Please turn off all electronic devices.
Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
One announcement, and then we'll get to a couple reports, and we'll go on with the meeting. We have decided at the next meeting, which should be 2 weeks from today, the 16th, that because of the limited space in here, we will also go to the in attendance plus a telephone conference. So anybody who wants to speak will have that opportunity to speak. At this point, we have a couple reports. First, Frank Richetti, who is Director of Public Works.
Yeah, this week we got a complaint about the Rusproni Park up by the library. And I did go up there and check out the situation of weeds. So we contacted our landscaper, and he came in and cleaned it up. It is in his contract. Along the bayfront, the new project going on down there, we've been assisting them with locating water lines and actually fixing them and making sure they're visible. We actually went down there and put more trash baskets along the bay because there's a lot of action going on down there. Today, the playgrounds were opened up. Anthony Edge went around and checked them and made sure everything was all right. He did all his reports for the playgrounds. And with the COVID-19, Public Works, we've been fogging our buildings. We have 5 buildings. We fog them 3 times a week. We also fog all our trucks 3 times a week. We have installed hand sanitizers in public buildings and all playgrounds and parks. And plus, we've been supplying our employees with the PPE, the gloves, the mask, whatever else they need. We've been working on the davits down at the beach this week, and we finished off the davits at Jefferson, Washington, Decatur, Benson, Thurlow, Osborne, and Jerome. We still have Madison, Huntington, Gladstone, Claremont, and Argyle. With beach maintenance, we've been cleaning up the beaches, raking them, and also straightening out the mats, the walkovers, etc. The trash on the beach every day has been a lot more, probably 30% more average, above average than any other year. And the city yard is just, the lines of traffic coming in for people to get rid of their trash is just unbelievable. In the water and sewer department, we averaged out the last 5 years how much water we used in June, and we were above average by 9 million gallons for the month of June. We also been installing new water and sewer lines for new houses going up, repairing water meter pits, and working on sprinklers out on our ball fields. And we had a sewer collapse on Cedar Grove Avenue. We took care of that this week. That's all I have.
Busy week, all right?
Yeah, very busy.
Good job, Frank. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for the report. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to give a synopsis of the last 6 months for the City of Margate and the Fire Department in general. The year started off relatively slow. We didn't have too many snowstorms or anything like that. Needless to say, we had no snowstorms. But then February and March kicked in, and something we call coronavirus or COVID-19 started. We started an action plan early in the latter part of February, we started working together with our people. We started meeting, myself, Chief Hankinson, the Emergency Management Coordinator, Chuck LeBar. We're meeting basically daily to discuss what we were going to do and how we were going to handle the actions moving forward with the COVID. We developed a plan of action. We instituted, safety steps, more importantly, safety steps for our employees, residents, and visitors of the town, and to assure that we were able to provide constant operations or continued operations without any glitches or any hiccups in the services that we normally provide. With that said, we had to make drastic changes in what we normally did or how we worked our normal operations, specifically in the fire department. We switched to we have 2 stations, but we split our stations in 2 citywide, and we kind of split some of our responses. Some of the other things we did was separate our personnel to assure we didn't have any intermixing of personnel, to assure potential of exposure to anyone, including them, their families, and everything else. We rescinded all our vacation and trade time to assure that we had the level of protection that was needed to provide the services. And luckily, Mayor, we went without a hitch as far as we were very lucky that none of our people and none of our employees became sick due to this virus. We continued to work diligently with our department heads and the business administrator, and without the cooperation of the mayor and commissioners, we would not have been able to provide the services and the equipment. And I do want to thank, Fred Verna, who's standing in the back, because we spent a lot of hours working together to assure that we had enough PPE, equipment, sanitizer, and believe it or not, even we as a fire department or a public safety entity had difficulty trying to obtain these resources. And we finally were able to get some in different ways. Thankfully, Atlantic County Emergency Management came through and was able to provide some stuff to us. They provided equipment for the police department as well. But we actually had to look at any resource we had possible. And even the city of Margate started to use Amazon as a resource to get the supplies and materials that we needed. Thankfully, we started to come down as far as, did we have responses in the city of Margate? Absolutely. We dealt with them in a professional manner. We made sure that our personnel were trained and retrained to assure that they had the highest level of protection possible. We worked hand in hand with the police department with training as well to assure that they had all of the equipment that they needed in the event that they came across a potential, infected person as well. And again, like I said, we provided all of the equipment to the different departments throughout the city to assure that everybody had what they needed to continue to provide the services that we have. We're kind of in the down phase, or I should say, the fire department has gone through phase 1 and phase 2 to try and return back to normal operations. We're hesitant, but we are moving forward with things to assure going into the summer season we have what we need to continue to provide the excellent services that our residents and visitors are normally exposed to and ready to have when they call upon us. Lastly, I just want to speak briefly on the beach patrol. The beach patrol has been up in full swing. Last week, John, all the beaches were opened.
Saturday.
So we had all 12 of our beaches open. The lifeguard test was a success a couple weeks back. The new rookie lifeguards have all been trained, and they will be hitting the beaches going into this weekend as well. Chief Smallwood, again, due to the COVID, we had to take precautionary measures and things on even the lifeguard side, as far as lifeguards sitting in a stand and different things like that to assure that personnel are safe and in a safe environment. But he's done a great job of preparing that and that. But I just want to go back to one of the things I said already. Without the cooperation of all the department heads, the business administrator, the mayor, and commissioners, our operation during this COVID response would not be as effective as it was, that we all pitched in and did what we had to do, working together for the betterment of Margate. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Scott, did you want to
No, Mayor, everything's
briefly
going along.
say something?
No, everything's fine.
No? Come on.
He's good.
Okay.
He said he's good.
Okay.
Only gets one chance.
Commissioner knows, boy, you wind me up getting gone.
Did you call the roll yet? Yes, we called the roll, didn't we?
Yeah,
Okay.
approval of minutes.
We have minutes before us of our meeting on June 18th for approval. What is your pleasure?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We will now open for public comment. Those of you that wish to speak were asked to sign, so I have a list here, and I'll call your name, and we'll go get right into that. You have 3 minutes. You can speak on any subject. As you come forward to the microphone, please state your name and address. Mr. Sewell.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, you three banditos talk a good game, but fail miserably in delivering the goods. The last meeting was a case in point, whereby your hand-picked school board fails to meet all 7 indices of efficiency. But you 3 fiscally irresponsible banditos don't give a tinker's damn about this 13 million yearly white elephant. If you 3 had a scintilla of decency, you'd order an immediate cost analysis of this wretched waste of taxpayer dollars. Trust me, were such an analysis performed, then job 1 would be to right-size to just 1 school at once. It's a golden opportunity to go from fiscal zeros to fiscal heroes. Selling Thai School and its rec fields to Atlantic Cape Community College would be an enormous windfall, perhaps enough to retire the Ross school bonds, plus underwrite all or part of the Back Bay dredging, and/or an abbreviated boardwalk. Sadly, there are 0 cost analyses undertaken, rather merely blind fumbling and obscene cost overruns. Mayor, you 3 banditos just can't talk the talk, but must begin to walk the walk. Start with an in-depth analysis of the 7 indices of efficiency, and have the intestinal fortitude and backbone to abide by the findings. Would there be a hue and cry by a host of parents accustomed to getting boutique-sized classes of less than 10 students? A number not feasible even in a private school setting? You're darn right they'd be yelling and screaming their heads off, but this nonsense and obscene waste must stop, because on the other hand, you 3 schmozzles are driving the senior citizen taxpayers out of town. If you don't believe me, then simply wait for the results of the 2020 census, and you'll readily see the precipitous drop in year-round residents. I can safely predict. Another prognostication is that Brigantine will be spared Margate's fiscal fiasco that drives seniors out of their homes, because Brigantine's mayor has done what you 3 banditos only spout inept, incompetent, and inefficient campaign platitudes about. Brigantine's mayor promises are made and kept. 6 property tax cuts in 6 years, an enviable record by any yardstick. You 3 banditos don't measure up because you have a wishbone instead of a backbone. Straighten up and fly right, Mayor. It's about time. This fiscal waste can't continue, can't persist, especially when senior citizens are financially pressed.
Mr. Weintraub?
Would you mind if I took this off my spoke so I don't suffocate? Jay Weintraub, 10 North Franklin Avenue, now a full-time voting resident of Margate. We settled on our house in Bucks County on the 30th, and we're down to 1 home. I just have a question. We've been, I guess it's 3 summers now, we've had a concern and there's been talk about the bike racks. Can anyone give us an update on what's going on with that? Because so many of our members have asked from the MHA. Thank you.
Yes, we were informed today that there's a pre-job meeting, am I correct, Ed? Scheduled for next week for the bike racks.
I believe that is correct. This job was, it's a federally funded project that's being administered by the county. So it's a little bit of an arm's length from within the city's total control, but we are involved. And it has taken a while to get to this point, but I believe it is finally ready to move forward.
Okay. Henry Gorenstein, please.
Henry Gorenstein, 9100 Beach, Margate. I have a question for all the commissioners, mayor and commissioners. Would you be willing to listen to the September 20th, 2018 commissioners meeting audio from start to finish? Again? Would you promise to listen to that audio from that meeting from 2 years ago?
Why would you want us to listen to
I'm
that?
just asking you because there was some pertinent information there that you made some promises to the residents of Margate, and I just think you should refresh your memory, and I'm just asking you, would you be willing to spend a little bit of time and just listen to what your statements were back then? I'm just asking you to listen to it.
And your point is what, Mr. Gorenstein?
I would like you to listen to, I'm just asking you, would you listen to that audio? Yes or no? Is that asking too much for the residents of this whole city?
Marty?
I'm willing to do anything.
Yeah, sure.
That's all, I'm just asking.
I know what was said at that meeting. I don't have to listen to it.
So you haven't listened to it since 2018?
Pardon me, sir?
You haven't listened to it since 2018, and you remember exactly what was on that tape?
I could tell you, I recall the meeting.
You also said that if anything ever comes up, that you'll notify every single resident in Margate City of some certain incident or some certain issue that we're not allowed to talk about tonight. So I'm just asking you three, would you be willing, since you don't remember, would you please listen to that audio again so you can refresh your memories? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Thank you. On another note, I saw there was a parcel of land that sold in Margate for $1,000 on the bay. The assessment on the property was $680-some thousand. How did you market the property? Was it on GovBids? Was it just an illegal notice?
Scott, would you tell Mr.
You would think to get the highest and best number or price for the taxpayers of
No,
Margate.
let me explain it
you
to
would-
you.
Okay.
Hold on. It is a property that is entirely underwater and not accessible from a public street. Yes, the tax assessment was very high. I believe it was mistaken. You can't build a house on it. It's non-buildable. We also ran a title search on it and found that our
But
tax.
how was it marketed?
Let me finish. We found out that the tax assessment, not the tax assessment, we found that the title was defective in that our tax foreclosure from 1955 was invalid, or at least partially invalid. So we don't really own the lot,
Okay.
although we have a
You're selling
judgment.
your interest in the lot.
We're going to sell whatever, if there's any interest.
But it went through a tax sale
whatever
foreclosure,
interest.
which
Let me
clears
finish.
out everything.
Okay, you tell me then.
Well, I'm
You tell
telling you,
me,
you
because
sold it
you
through a
don't wanna
tax,
let me
well, I
finish,
don't know if
so
I know it all, but
you
you
tell
sold it,
me.
you seized it in a tax foreclosure.
Yes.
That's a priority lien. So any other secondary or subsequent liens
No.
would be wiped out.
We had to go through a foreclosure process, but our title examiner, who wrote a report on it, found.
Thank
that
you,
the
Mr. Gorenstein.
What I really
There's
wanna
other
know is
people-
Foreclosure was defective.
But still, wouldn't you think that you would market the property
No,
through a real estate broker to
because
try and
it
get
is-
the highest and
you-
best value for the
you-
taxpayers of
I'm
Margate?
trying to answer, you just won't
Answer,
let
I'm
me
listening.
answer.
I'm listening. I'll sit there.
So the person who bid on it
All right.
has to build a bulkhead there, and it's 30 feet of water. And that estimated cost is hundreds of thousands of dollars, so they have to build a stormwater. Public advertisement.
Not with the real estate broker. So
We did not list it for sale because we don't really own it.
there wasn't mass
All right.
There
We
was
have
not
to-
mass marking the property. We do not have good title to it. That is correct.
Mary Slowmine, please.
All right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Slowmine. I live at 9 Exeter Court. I had the privilege of being on the Zoom meeting for the planning board the other night, and I wanted to bring up something because Mrs. Day, who is the owner of the new water park, kept referring to the city when people would get onto the chat line and ask a question of the gentleman. I don't know his last name. His first name is Robert. She would say, "Oh, that's the city's problem. Oh, you have to go to the city." She must have said it at least 5 times. And one of the main issues that came up when she was saying that concerned, would people pull up and not have a parking spot in front of her building and drop their grandkids off or their little kids off? And she said, no, most people are going to come by boat. And then other people are going to walk over, and the third group of individuals will just bike over. Well, I don't live anywhere near the water park, but if I had grandkids, I would certainly drive them over there. I wouldn't bike them over there because, no offense, but the bike racks aren't up, so there's no place to put your bike. The other thing that came up at that meeting, in case you didn't get the chance to listen, to the minutes is she has something like 12 to 15 employees. They work a half-day shift, and there's no bathroom, and she's negotiating with someone, a restaurant or whatever, to facilitate their using a bathroom. I don't know why the bathrooms got taken out of the plan, but I think that if you guys could at least, in another meeting, because I know this isn't on the agenda, address concerns about safety on that water park, because she also mentioned that you're doing a study now of making Amherst one-way, and my question was, wasn't there a study done last summer of the traffic on Amherst, and why are we doing another study? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Mr. Tercey?
Hello, Fred Tercey, 9400 Amherst. I have some of the same issues regarding the water park. When I brought it up to planning, I said, why don't you take so many parking spaces, I don't know how many, but I'm sure you're smarter than me, you can figure it out. And then have signs there saying no parking from a half hour before the water park opens and a half hour after the water park, no parking, so that people can safely drop off their kids. And they said, that's not our issue, it's Commissioner and the police department's issue. So that's why I'm here. So I want you to consider doing that for the safety of the kids that are, getting out of cars. The other problem I have, there's no crosswalk from the, I guess it would be the beach side of Amherst going over. So there at least needs to be one, so kids, walking to the park can also, get across safely, because there's really no crosswalk anywhere on Amherst. And I was told, well, when the promenade goes in, there'll be crosswalks. Yeah, but when's that? Next year? I don't know. So I would think you would want to consider putting some crosswalk somewhere for that water park. The third issue had to do with the bathrooms. Her planning, what she sent to DEP, had a bathroom on the land side. I don't know if you know that. And all of a sudden, there's no bathroom. My understanding, DEP requires a bathroom on every area that has docks. So my question really, we don't want to see it on the land side.
Neither do I.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
That's why it's not,
Thank you.
that's why
it's not.
it's not on the land.
Mr. Siegel, please.
Thank you for giving me the time to speak today. I've been a...
Your name and address, please.
Pardon me?
Your name and address, please, for the record.
Larry Siegel, 9100 Atlantic Avenue. I've been a taxpayer here for over 40 years, and I've seen Margate develop from a noisy, bar-ridden town with Lenny's and the bars, and I think some of you have been here long enough to remember that. The commissioners over this time have done a wonderful job making Margate a wonderful place to live. My grandchildren now come up to Margate. They look forward to seeing Lucy the elephant. My understanding is there may be rumors going around that a high-rise may be building up in Ventura's property. I hope the commissioners would keep the town of Margate, this peaceful, beautiful town, to avoid any extra traffic, to keep Lucy the elephant a view, an attraction for all the people of Margate. And that's my hope. And I hope to be here more years, and I'm sure you may feel that way. But that's what I have to say, and I hope you would just think about that for future. The rumors persist, but I want to be sure, in case it does come up, that you're aware of feelings of a lot of the residents from Margate. Thank you so much for hearing me, and I appreciate all you've done. Not you, but the ones previous to you, in helping Margate become the town that it is today and keep it that
Thank you.
way.
Thank you very much. That completes the list. Is there anyone else who would like to comment? Fred, do you have anybody? Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Come on
hello
up.
there.
signed in on the list, but apparently not. Len Wahlberg at 9100. And I would appreciate it if I could briefly mention some of the issues that we will face during perhaps 2+ years if we construct the high-rise building that the last individual was talking about. These issues, number one, parking access would be nearly impossible for Lucy and the Island House, as room will be needed to have work crew parking, trucks for construction equipment, building materials, excavation removal, and storage of equipment. 2, noise will be very loud, starting early and lasting all day, sometimes overtime. 3, traffic would be detoured, and constriction on Atlantic Avenue would slow everything down. 4, dirt and sand blowing especially often when wind occurs off the ocean often brings visibility and breathability issues. And 5, potential danger with any significant construction project, as this one, to people or pets walking nearby, especially if flooding or high winds from the ocean occur. So this is a subject that really hasn't had much discussion before, but I wanted to leave that with you gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else, please? Last chance.
Mayor Becker, I have a public comment.
Go ahead.
May I?
You may.
Okay. Today, well, actually tomorrow, is a special day for a person who lives in Margate. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners in the city of Margate, we would like to wish Jerry Blavitt a very happy 80th birthday.
The gear with the heater.
Yeah. I didn't even have to sign it either, did I?
I'm done.
Last chance, folks. Is any other comment?
You spinning records tomorrow night, man?
Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll move to close public comment.
I'll second that.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We will now open public comment on resolutions which are listed on the agenda. Is there any public comment? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Johanna?
Okay. May I have a motion for resolution number 125, 2020, authorizing payment of claims?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for resolution number 126, 2020, authorizing the acceptance of bid by Union Point LLC for the purchase of public land known as Block 623, Lot 1 and 1.01E as shown on the tax map of the city of Margate.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for the consent agenda, which consists of resolution number 127, 2020, through resolution number 133, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
That was very short and sweet. Thank you, Johanna. Anyone else have an update or anything you want to speak about at this point?
I am good.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you all for being here.